think I still have more. These are all my brushes. This is
my entire brush collection, and except for the ones that are like on my table. I keep all my brushes in these little tins. Aren't they like freaking cute? They kind of look like a little doily. Got these little from Target. You know that little dollar section? There's something about that dollar section that Target must know that women, we just love to look at crap.
oh my god, it's cheap and it's crap and it's just
Like every time I go into Target, that dollar section, it's like, it's crazy in that section. There's like 20 women walking around. You just get in the zone when you go in there and you're just like, oh my god, this cup is only $1? Like, how could it be? The men are just standing there. Sometimes you see like the husband who's kind of standing off and he's like,
what? Like, what are you looking at in there?
that section is totally there for women. I don't think I've ever seen a guy who was willingly in that section by himself, like who just happened to wander in there. 99.9% of it is just shit you don't need, but you're fascinated by it because you're like, it's so cheap. Why? Crayons for $3? Who would ever think? You know, I have so much stuff from that dollar section. It's nauseating. It's like $1 to $3, but the Target that I went to last night, they had $5 products in there. And I was like, no. We don't put $5 in the $1 to $3 section. This video is special request from Elise Kaufman. Kaufman? Is that your last name? Whittemore? Am I making things up? Who was my best friend Tommy's roommate in college. So they are college friends, and her and I, we hung out. We went out a couple times back in the old days. So she wanted to know about brushes because brushes is probably one of the most intimidating parts of makeup. When I was first getting interested in this makeup thing, because I was not always like good at this crap. I sucked at it actually. I thought like brushes, like you had to have specific brushes, and in a way you do have to have, you know, some specific brushes, but for the most part, you know, use what's comfortable. That's the rule of makeup, is there are no rules. You use what makes you feel more comfortable, what makes you happy. I have so many brushes that I don't use for their designated purpose or what I bought them for or what they say they were for on the package. So that's what ends up happening, I think, with a lot of people. You know, you kind of just get like comfortable with certain things and you know, use those things. So let's just get right into them.
ready.
Okay, I feel like I'm being choked by my shirt. There's something on my collar. I love turtlenecks. I don't know what it is. I have a turtleneck obsession. First things first, foundation brushes. I have quite a few foundation brushes. If you are into makeup and you go online and you watch any YouTube videos, tutorials of any of the real famous YouTube girls out there, their favorite brush, this is like the brush of all brushes, is the Sigma F80 kabuki, flat top kabuki brush. And I'm personally not a big fan of brushes for foundation, and it really just comes down to laziness. I just don't like washing brushes all the time, and to me, brushes could really only be used a couple of times and then they need to be washed, and it's just a big pain in the ass, and I'm lazy. A brush like this though is good. According to Sigma, this is, their bristles don't absorb any of the product. I don't know, I tend to disagree. You could kind of see how it all kind of gets like clumped together, the bristles. So when that starts happening, then you get, you know, streaky application. If you use bristles that are made out of real hair for liquid products, it's gonna really soak up the product. So these synthetic bristles are more slippery and they don't absorb so much of the product. So for foundation brushes, if you're using a liquid or a cream foundation, you wanna have a synthetic bristle brush. You want to use them in a, don't wanna use them in a wiping motion. So you just kinda wanna use them in a circular kind of motion, like buffing it into your skin. That's gonna get you the best application. So I have quite a few. This one I actually bought at Marshall's. So, and you can see they're almost identical. I mean, they're pretty much the same thing. Both really good, both used for foundation. This one's made by Precision Beauty. So if you guys see that around on the internet, I would say that this is a good duplicate of this one. So, you know, a cheaper one too, because I think this brush is like $25, which is crazy. I also have this one from Up and Upper End Target Target's brand is called Up and Up, and they have their own brushes, and I own quite a few, and they're cheap. They're like $6 a piece, which is really cheap for brushes, and these are really good too. This is a buffing brush, same, you know, concept. This is just a little bit rounded on the top, is the only difference, but same concept. Very good for buffing in foundations, liquid foundations, cream foundations, blah, 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 blah. I like to use the thicker cream foundations with a beauty blender, and thinner ones I like to apply with a brush. If you guys are new to brushes and you're like not, you know, you're not 100% like sure and you just want to try some out, there is a very cheap $3 e.l.f. brush that is sold everywhere, Target, Walmart, wherever your, you know, e.l.f. is sold. If you don't believe me, go online and go read some reviews, because so many people have so many great things to say about this brush for applying liquid foundation. It's called the e.l.f. powder brush, and it's just a flat top brush. Again, just really good for buffing in foundation, liquid foundations, powder foundation, whatever you want. It's a good for just like trying it out and seeing if you're even comfortable with that. But here's a perfect example of a brush that is meant to be something, and I use it for something a little different. This is another Real Techniques brush. It's the Expert Face Brush. I can't talk today. Expert Face Brush. So this brush, this is actually touted a foundation brush. You see how it's shaped and everything. I don't like it for full application of foundation because it's kind of small, and it's like, you know, you'd have to spend like 3 hours using this. I strictly use this just, I'm sure you guys have seen this one before, just for my concealer. So just doing concealer under my eyes and highlighting. It's just really good. The shape of it is really good. And I don't know, for foundation, like this isn't so good for buffing in foundation. So those are foundation brushes. Where everybody's seen these kind of brushes. These could also be used to apply foundation. I'm not very big on using these. This is a Sigma Duo Fiber F50 brush. They're basically stippling brushes, so I love these. These are, again, $3 from e.l.f. I mean, you can't go wrong, and I have like so many of them. Great for applying like cream products, any kind of cream blush. You know, if you want to do a cream contour, you could use them for powders. They're good for bronzers and stuff because they don't have, you see how there's a lot of space there between the bristles, so you're not getting like a full-on packed out application. You're just kind of getting a very diffused, you know, nicer application, so it's not going to go on as strong. This is another Real Techniques brush. It is their stippling brush. I've heard people say that they like this for applying foundation. If you like that, just know that, you know, because the density of the bristles, you're not going to get as heavy of an application. I personally like to use this one for blush, powder blush, cream blush, whatever it is. I use this one, and I really, really like these little ones from e.l.f. That was weird. Stippling is just making a series of small dots to fill in like a space. That's stippling brushes. I'm going to talk about is blush brushes. I have quite a few. These are my 3 favorite brushes that I use for blush. This one is from Target. Again, $6, guys. I like this one because it's small. I have very high cheekbones and kind of thin the area there, so you know, something like this is a little too big for my cheekbones, and so I like this one because you could just get right on that apple-y part of your cheek. Great for powder, you know, applying powder blushes. So that's what these kind of brushes are for. And then this one's great by Real Techniques, just interesting shape. It looks like a microphone. If you want to sing into it, go ahead. Really good for applying blush. I like the shape of it because you could get that, just the tip. You could use just the tip, or you could just sweep product on like this. So I love the Real Techniques face brush. I don't have many of their eye brushes, but I do love like almost all their face brushes. They're really, really good brushes. Okay, so that's blush. Then I have some more flat brushes like this. This is not synthetic fiber, so I don't use it for foundation. I like this brush for applying powder products, for blending out, you know, when after I put my blush on. I think it's like badger hair or something, so I wouldn't use it for any kind of cream products, but I do love it for dry foundation, you know, powder foundations or mineral foundations or something like that. And I also like to use it for your finishing powder if you're doing like an all over the face finishing powder, and also just really like it for blending out because it's really soft and it works really well. This is from Morphe brushes. which is like, you can only order it online. I'll put a link somewhere. I mean, look how big this brush is. It came with my Sigma set. I think it's the F30. It's called the large powder brush. Obviously it's large. And I don't really use this one that much, to be honest with you, but I do, you know, grab it every once in a while. It's good for putting all over, you know, powder again, and for blending out powder. And it's just like really soft even to just play around with it. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. And does anybody else do that? Like, I just love the way this feels. This feels so cool. I also have this $3 one from e.l.f. again. They make good brushes. This is called the complexion brush. So you could use it for any kind of powder, you know, foundations, mineral products, blah, 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 blah. These are two of my concealer brushes. Again, Real Techniques, shout out. This one is called the pointed foundation brush. See, I would never use this unless you're like painting a doll. I don't know. This is too small for foundation for me. It's so tiny. You'd be here literally probably all day. And I wouldn't use it for foundation, but I would use it for concealer. So this is great for applying concealer and then blending it out with this. So these kind of brushes to me are basically just used for application. I mean, I don't really think they blend well. You know, you're using cream products, they get all stuck together and gooey and gross like mine, which needs to be washed. This one's just a smaller. This one came with my Sigma set. It is a concealer F70 brush. I like it for dotting concealers on. Not so much, you know, it's good because you could get really precise and like in these like small areas that, you know, if you have a pimple or something. So these are great for concealer application.
This is one of my favorite brushes in the world.
This is a setting brush. So it says setting brush. It's again from Real Techniques. Love this brush to death because when I set my under eye concealer, it's just like the perfect size for my under eyes right here. And then, you know, I'll also dot it down my nose here. So any kind of setting powders that you're using after you apply your foundation, your concealer, yada, 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 this little brush is so good for that because you don't want to wipe. You know, that's like the most important thing with brushes. You don't want to wipe brushes that much around your face because you're going to be pulling off product. So this is a great little brush just for dotting in some powder on the under eye area. I mean, I think this one only comes in a set. I'm not 100% sure, but they're affordable. To me, they're affordable. If you're not into spending that much money even on brushes, or you just want to test one, this one's great. It's by e.l.f. Again, $3. Same concept. It's just a little bit bigger and a little more fluffy, but it still works great. And there's times where I can't find that one and I'm in a rush and I'll just grab this one, and I have one in my pocketbook just for like, you know, if I'm out and I'm getting like oily or something and I notice that I'm getting oily, I'll just like dip it in a face powder. In most eye sets that you get from anywhere, you will see brushes like these. They're kind of flat, they're kind of rounded shaped, and what these brushes are good for are really just packing product onto your eyelids, going into a glittery or shiny eyeshadow, I mean, or shimmery eyeshadow, and just packing it on the lids, packing it on. And they're also good for sweeping, you know, so you could use them up here, you know, to brush on the shadow. They're also good, you could kind of use them out here to kind of blend things out. So these kind of brushes are kind of like multifunctional tools. Believe it or not, this brush, I have two of them. They are from Michaels. They are not even makeup brushes. They are art brushes. They are regular acrylic paint brushes. And that's a great place to go if you want to just try out some brushes. Go to the art supply store because you can find some good brushes. This is a 1/18 Maxi Mop. I can't live without this brush. That's why I have two of them, because I'm like, I don't know. I live in this world where I think there's going to be like a makeup apocalypse and they're just going to like stop selling products. People are going to stop painting and they're not going to sell them. I'm weird. This one, I have one from my Sigma set, but I can't find it. You guys saw my makeup table, you'd be like, wow, you're a dirtbag. And I'd be like, yeah, you're kind of right. These three brushes right here, guys, these are my three favorite eye brushes for applying color in my crease. I just dropped one on the floor. This one came free with my Smashbox full exposure set, which is why I'm telling you guys, do not be embarrassed to use free brushes. Like these kind of fluffier, they're kind of like blending brushes. In fact, I think, yeah, this is called the E25 blending brush. I use it to apply eyeshadow in my crease. So when I'm doing my crease color, transition color, whatever. I have 3 of them. My favorite is my Sigma blending E25 blending brush. This one's from Coastal Scents, cost $3 or $4. It was cheap. I don't know. Same exact thing, same idea. See, they're a little bit more fluffy, kind of like a little flat, but really good for applying color in the crease, because I used to like strictly use these kind of dome tipped brushes here like that are a little more dense. So you see the difference there. These are a little more fluffy, these aren't. So I used to use like pretty much strictly this, and I realized I was creating a lot more work for myself when it came to blending, because these are a little more fluffy. They kind of saving you a little bit of work because they're applying the color not as like straight or, you know, a line. They're just making it softer looking. So that's why I prefer to use these. I like to use these for the outer corner to put the color on. I feel like you just get a softer application and it makes less work for blending in the end. So that's what these brushes are for. If there's anywhere that I would suggest investing in a good brush, I would say it would be in your blending brush, just because I haven't seen any of these types of brushes in the store. They're kind of like these fluffy, I think they're made from badger hair or something. So they're these fluffy kind of look like an upside down teardrop dome shaped things here. So my absolute favorite is this Sigma E35 blending brush, and this one's really good for blending out the colors. So after you apply something, you want to blend it. So this is like the key to getting like nice, you know, soft looking blended eyeshadow look. This one that I got from the iMats, it's from Morphe brushes online. You could order it. Basically exactly the same and function, you know, works exactly the same as my Sigma brush, and it's half the price. I think this one was like $25, and I think this one was like, I don't even know if I paid $10 for it. So I just don't know what it is. They don't sell blending brushes like this, or at least I haven't seen any in the drugstore or in any of the drugstore brands. So these are all basically the same thing. Great for applying, you know, color in the crease if you want a more defined look, because they're more dense, so you're gonna get a straighter looking kind of line. But that's what these kind of things are good for. They're also good for smoking out your bottom lash line if you want to blend the color out a little bit. This one is probably like my oldest brush period that I've ever had. I've had this brush for so many years. There's this one brush that I own that when I can't find it, I literally have a panic attack. The jack of all trades. I have no idea where I got this brush, so I'm sorry. I can't even help you guys to find it. It came with something Smashbox that I got at one time. It is this little cute little, I don't know, this thing's amazing. I use it for so many things. I use it to apply, you know, color under my eyes. I use it sometimes even to, you know, do some eyeliner, not like cream eyeliners, if I'm using like a powder one or something. Great for smudging the color under your lash line. I like it to put color in my eyebrows. It's really good because the bristles are really small, really short, and really dense and like sturdy. So it's just a really good brush, and I really seriously get panicked when I can't find this brush. So these are just more brushes kind of like that. I call them detailing brushes, whatever. Just great brushes. This one came with my Sigma set. It's like, I don't know, I kind of call it a pencil brush. I have no idea if that's what it's called, and I can't see because the names wore off, but really good for just smoking color out under here. Like, you know, you don't even have to pick up if you apply it with another brush and then you use this one to just kind of smoke it out and just make it look a little blended and softer looking. Same thing with this, just a smaller, you know, smaller brush. I like this one pretty much for, you know, like sometimes I like to apply color here to brighten up my inner corners. So that's why I call them detailers, because they get into like doing the little details. So these are angled eyeliner brushes, and they do not have to be used only for eyeliner. This one came with my Sigma set. It's the Sigma I think it's 65. The numbers are wearing off. I used to use this one to apply my eyeliner, and nowadays I kind of like it better for my eyebrows. So you could use this with cream products, powder products, whatever you want. They're also good if you're into, you know, to apply color under your eyes or any kind of eyeliner, eyebrow things. I gravitate more towards this one. This one's from Morphe brushes. So it's the BK11. Love this one for when I'm doing like a winged liner look. It's just amazing. This is if you want to try out an angled brush, this one's from e.l.f. It's a small angled brush. I really don't like this for eyeliner. The bristles are just a little cheesy, but I actually like it for applying anything in my eyebrows because it kind of combs them at the same time because the bristles are so like plasticky. I don't know. It kind of works better for eyebrow application. This is another Sigma brush. I got this one at the IMATs, but I have the bigger one that came with my Sigma brush set. I don't really love that much. You see how it has that kind of little pointy tip? It's kind of just like a standard paintbrush. Only use this one for putting liner in my waterline. That's the only reason I use it. Oh my god. Contouring brushes. I forgot contouring brushes when I was doing face brushes. I'm sure everybody has seen these. A lot of the times if you get a brush set from the drugstore, they always have these angled this one's called the angled contour brush. Sometimes they call them blush brushes, whatever. I actually use this today to do my contour just because I couldn't find my other one at the time. I personally prefer something like this. There's a brush out there. It's called the NARS Ita brush. It is a $55 just for the brush, and it's kind of like looks like this one. It's a little maybe more stubby, and it's a contour brush. It's $55. That to me, I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't part with $55 for one brush. I just can't do it. So this one is pretty much like, to me, it's like the ghetto version. This one's from Target, Sonia Kashuk. I like it. It does a perfect little line right where you need it. Just perfect little brush. This one's actually called a contour brush, and it's from, again, Real Techniques, but I could see it working for that application, and I could see it being good. I personally don't use that for that reason. I like it to apply highlights, so I like to go on top of my cheekbones with this. So same thing, contouring, highlighting, blah blah blah, you know. So that's it. So last but not least, I don't even know why I own this brush. I just thought it was so cool looking, and I'm like, that thing needs to be on my makeup table. I don't know, it's just such a cool brush. Like, if you get hot, maybe you could fan yourself off. I guess you could like just wipe powder products on your face or off, like if you have like excess powder. I'm not a big fan of these fan brushes. That is it. I hope I answered your questions, Elise. I hope you understand what most of these brushes are used for. If you don't, you can always write down in the comments, text me, like I'm gonna give out my phone number on like Facebook. I'm not gonna give my phone number out, but you guys can always get in touch with me on Facebook, Makeup Mobster, YouTube. So feel free to ask me questions anytime because I love talking about this shit. All right, guys, I'm out of here. My friend Tom, she's good at doing like mime things. It was like the box, and then what else? Oh, I gotta go. Talk to you later.